So I'm going to be trying to read for 24 hours to kickstart my 2026 TBR. I honestly don't know what part of my overly ambitious brain thinks this is even going to be possible, let alone achievable, is to read in a 24-hour time span and get in and kickstart this reading year, but we're gonna do it. And let me quickly just explain my 24 hours. I know some people do the full 24 hours where they'll start at like 9 a.m. and go to 9 a.m. with very minimal breaks and no sleeping at night. I am just not capable of doing that. I need my sleep. So I am gonna be reading for a total of 24 hours, whether that takes 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, a week. Hopefully it doesn't take a week. Hopefully I am able to read as much as possible. I will be using a timer on my phone to count down the 24 hours, and I will only be pausing it when I need to sleep, when I need to eat, when I need a break. And if you haven't seen it yet, I have posted my 26 books that I want to read in 2026. This is the list that I'm going to be basing off of to kickstart my 2026 reading. However, I have started a book already because I was ambitious and I was really excited to already start this book in the new year, and that is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. I am 206 pages into this book and I'm really enjoying it. So we will be starting the 24-hour mark with a book that is half finished. This follows our main character Inez, who's been brought up in a very wealthy society in Argentina, and she has always wanted a life of adventure. Her parents have been off in Egypt for 17 years of her life, excavating and finding treasures and sending it back. And in this world there is old magic, where magic is seeped into objects and, you know, magical things can happen and everything. However, magic is leaving the world piece by piece. However, unfortunately, one day Inez gets a letter stating that her parents have passed away and that her uncle has become her guardian. After finding out her parents have passed away, she ends up embarking on an adventure to Cairo and arrives in a place that is so not only foreign to her, but also to an uncle that she doesn't really know, who's now her guardian, but also doesn't want her there and wants her to leave. And she starts finding out that there's secrets and that, you know, her uncle may be involved in something and that maybe her parents' death wasn't an accident. And not only that, she's tethered to this ring that her father had sent her, and she's starting to feel magic all around her. This is just so much fun. At times, yes, I get annoyed with our characters and everything, but the actual magic, the story, the adventure that's unfolding, and the fact that it's taking place in Egypt of all places is just so fun. It's so beautiful. I'm loving the fact that we have a main character that's Argentinian, and it's just beautiful. So I'm gonna get back into this and I will talk to you in a little bit. Day, and we have read officially, how many hours have we read? We've read at least a good 2.5 hours. We're down to 21 hours, 13 minutes, and 4 seconds, which honestly isn't that much reading yesterday, but I did finish What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, and oh my gosh, I loved this so much. I ended up giving it a 4-star. I love the adventure, I love the intrigue, I love the plot twist, the ending. I was just like, I had a feeling about like the betrayals and all of that, and I kind of had this feeling for the ending, but at the same time seeing it, I was just like, oh my god, can't believe, like, why? But anyways, the ending was spectacular. It left me really wanting to read the next book, but the next book isn't on my 2026 TBR, but I'm definitely going to be picking it up really soon. Thankfully, this is only a duology and I already own the second book, so I'm able to get right into it whenever I want to. But if you are looking for a book that is adventurous, takes place in the late 1800s, it's Egyptian inspired, it has a lot of historical elements to it. Not only that, but there are a lot of other things that this book really hits on, specifically how women were treated in the late 1800s. You see another big situation in here with colonization, colonialism, colonialism, as well as it was considered at the time, I think, the great rush to Egypt into Africa to like take parts of this wonderful land. And obviously a lot of it focuses on the British and America and how they're just trying to take up everything, every cultural aspect of Egypt and take it away with them back to their home countries to covet and to say, look at what piece I got from ancient Egypt. So first book of 2023, what? First book of 2026 read. So now it is time to pick a new book, and I'm already kind of leaning towards a few of these books. I am leaning towards these two, Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid and Dungeon Crawler Carl. I ended up going on a spiral binge of watching videos on Dungeon Crawler Carl, and honestly, I am definitely feeling this one. Like, I'm wanting another fun read, and I've heard such amazing things about this. So I think our next book that we're gonna read is Dungeon Crawler Carl. So let's get into this. I'm really interested to see if I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I see everyone else enjoying it. I would be able to do this challenge because everything that could go wrong has gone wrong so far. And the biggest thing is it's actually been a week since my last update, and we're down to 16 hours and 9 minutes. I ended up coming down with the flu and tonsillitis, and it has honestly been the worst sick I have been in a long time. And as you can hear, my voice is still trying to come back. And then not only that, 3 days into me having the flu, our 1-year-old ends up getting it as well. And it just felt like everything has been against me so far with this reading challenge. And I have tried to read as best as I could. It's taken a lot for me to get from 24 hours to 16 hours. It is what it is. We're gonna continue forward. I do have a reading update for you. I am almost done with Dungeon Crawler Carl. I am at page 353 of a 476 page book. This is interesting. It is very different. It is definitely something I have stepped out of my reading comfort zone to pick up. I went into it with a few different expectations. I knew that I was going into a book that was very video game focused. I knew that the writing style was going to be a little bit different. I just wasn't prepared for it. And then I tried reading it while I was sick in bed, and my brain was such a big fogged mess that it's like it was really difficult for me to really get into this book the way that I wanted to. So far, this book is giving like a 3.75 star kind of vibe, and it's not the book's fault, it's the time that I'm reading its fault, which is a shame because this has been really interesting. There's been a lot of different things about this book that I've really liked. I've liked the video game aspect of it. I've liked our main character who is seeing a system for what it is. And then you have another main character, Princess Donut, who's a cat who goes from being a cat to being a very sentient being, and she's kind of also growing her own personality, except her personality right now is very much so, this is a show and it's grandiose and I'm a and I'm a show cat. However, the writing style has been a little bit of a struggle because you're pretty much reading a video game, and it's written like a video game. It talks about stats, it talks about points, it talks about leveling up, and it's very focused on that. And so you kind of have to really keep going to really get to like the meat and the plot of this story. So anyways, I am almost done with this. Literally like 70 pages to go. So it'll be interesting to see how this first book is gonna wrap up. So I did it. I finished Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman, and we are down to 13 hours, 54 minutes, and 56 seconds. And I'm not gonna lie, this challenge has become really exhausting. Like, it's to the point where I just don't want to do it anymore because I'm feeling like it's just not going quick enough because I'm constantly stopping it, and there's like 4 days of me not reading at all because of the fact that I was super sick, and then there was another day of me not reading at all because I was sick again, and then I ended up with food poisoning in all of that as well. It was just like a mess. But I did give Dungeon Crawler Carl a 3.7 5-star. As I said earlier, if I didn't read this during the time that I read it, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Once we get past a lot of that hand holding of like explaining the video game aspect of it and explaining kind of like the dungeon and the floor aspect of it and the leveling up and all of that, you do get a really good story about human survival. I am wanting to pick up the next one just to see if I would enjoy it a little bit more. Book 3 now. Now I've debated between two books. I've debated between Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid or The Jazad Heir by Sarah Hashem. Honestly, at first I was feeling kind of like something romancy, more historical focused, but the more that I think about it, I just want a really good fantasy book. I am thinking that I'm going to be picking up The Jazad Heir because it just sounds really interesting. It's an unmistakable tale of shattered kingdoms, forbidden magic, and cunning royals unfold in this Egyptian-inspired epic fantasy debut. It is around 470 some pages. Honestly, whatever we end up with after this book, it might be it. Like, I might be done because this challenge has almost dragged on for like a week and a half now, and I honestly didn't expect it to drag on this long. I thought it was gonna be 3 or 4 days. We're gonna see how it goes. Update. I am now at page 322 and I'm really enjoying this. However, kind of as I predicted, the beginning started really strong. There's a lot of action right away, and then we're now kind of in this lull of things are happening in like the last 100 and some pages, but not much is happening. There's a lot of training happening. There's a lot of just kind of, I don't know, the main character is just so unwilling to open her eyes to her own people's flaws that sometimes it can get frustrating that she's not also looking at it from another person's perspective of like what happened. Now granted, there's a lot of animosity between these two groups, the Nizals and the Jazadi, and a lot of other groups see the Jazadi as a very corrupt kingdom, and she's trying to contend her memories of what she remembers as a child to what she's hearing now. I'm enjoying the political intrigue. I'm enjoying kind of getting more and more backstory on what's going on in all of these kingdoms. We have a lot of really great side characters, some of the guards, her, people that she considers friends. We're getting a lot of their backstories, which I love getting side characters that are really fleshed out. Our main character is definitely growing. But yeah, this middle section, as I predicted, is quite slow. There's just not much happening action-wise that I would really like to see. There's these trials that are supposed to happen, and we're still not to them yet. We are down to 7 hours and 20 minutes, so I should be able to probably finish this around that 5-hour mark. So I'm gonna finish this, and I will touch base with you once I've completed the Jazad Heir.
I did finish the Jazad Air by Sarah Hashem, and yes, we're down to 5 hours, 3 minutes, and 24 seconds. And we'll get into the timer in a second here, but this was really enjoyable. I loved the world building, I loved the setting, I loved the characters, I loved the side characters, I loved this magic system, I loved the political intrigue. There are so many things that I loved about this book, so I did end up giving the Jazad Air a 4-star. It was just such a fun fantasy read, and boy, that ending. Like, I cannot wait to get to the Jazad Crown. This is definitely the kind of slow burn enemies to lovers that I look for. I don't want an instant attraction enemies to lovers. I don't want a complete hatred between two characters. It's definitely, they are enemies, and they very much show that they do have a lot of distaste for each other. However, both of these characters grow and kind of start to understand each other and their points of views, and just that slow burn enemies to lovers to some kind of understanding, like, it's just so wonderful. So as I said, there are 5 hours left, and I'm never one to fail a challenge or give up on a challenge. However, because this challenge has gone on so much longer than what I thought it would be, I am going to be ending this challenge here right now. I could pick up another 300-page book and finish it. However, I just don't think that that would align with my goals and values for reading in 2026. Now, the thing is I did not fail this challenge. The point of these challenges isn't to set myself up for failure. The point of these challenges is to get me to read and to get me to step outside of my reading comfort zone. And I did that. I finished the Jazad Air, and I finished Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I finished What the River Knows. I finished 3 books during this reading challenge, and if you think about it, I read for 20 hours total. Now granted, it was across multiple different days, but I finished 3 books. If I had actually done the challenge how I thought I was going to do it in my head, where I would read every minute that I had, this challenge probably would have only been 3 or 4 days, where it's now extending into 7 to 9 days because of being sick and because of all these other obstacles that appeared. So I think at the end of the day, yes, did I not complete the reading challenge in the sense that I read 24 hours total? No, I did not. At the end of the day, I finished 3 books, and they're not small books. Each of them are 3 to 500 pages each, and I think that that's amazing. I think that that's great. And if you are looking at wanting to try these challenges, go into it with the mindset of, the point of these challenges isn't to boast that you were able to read for 24 hours. The point of these challenges is to be able to read and get more into reading and create a sustainable reading habit. If the challenge isn't working for you, move on to something else. Move on to a different challenge. At the end of the day, the most important thing is picking up books and reading. So yeah, so that is the end of this reading challenge and this reading vlog. Definitely let me know in the comments below. Let me know any books that you have completed so far in 2026, or any books that you're hoping to read this January. I love to hear from you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.